We're seeing that the markets are enjoying quite a lot of gains lately. Many say that there are still risks on the horizon, considering that we are becoming too optimistic about the earnings. In fact, our expectations are so low that if a loss comes in better than expected, the markets rally on this news.
Yes, it was interesting to see that Sony was up today on smaller losses, while Nintendo was down on smaller profits. So I think we need to look through to see, who's making money and who's not making money. But I think you're right. A lot of the surprises have been smaller losses, and that has helped boost the markets. Our own market as well, also heading into earnings season. We've got quite a number of companies reporting today even. But I think the earnings outlook here, we're trying to see past the numbers that are coming out now to see where we're going. I think the market's factored in quite a bit already. The index above 24,000 again. That PE up to about 11.7 times earnings. And that's getting back closer to the mean than we have been for some time.
Well, Craig, I think you hit the nail on the head. The markets have priced in a certain amount of recovery, though, as well. Do you think that we're setting ourselves up for disappointment going forward because the demand picture globally is still very unclear?
Yeah, I think, excuse me, I think we're at that point now where we need to see the market catch up to, or the fundamentals catch up to where the market is at the moment. Excuse me, frog today. I think the market has run hard, so let's wait for those earnings to catch up a bit.
Well, let's just look at the earnings set to be released here in South Africa. Anglo American coming out with results later today. And it's interesting to note that De Beers came under pressure. Anglo Platinum posted a headline earnings per share loss of 95%, but Kumba Iron Ore fared slightly better, keeping in mind that Anglo American, of course, cut its dividends, and shareholders and investors quite upset about that. Yes,
today will be a big day. We'll see the numbers early this morning. As you said, Kumba about a quarter of their earnings, so that was quite a good result. The Anglo Plat numbers, that's probably another quarter of their results, and those were down 95%. So it gives you some inkling. Some of the other numbers, some of the bigger parts, we haven't got insight into. Anglo Coal probably makes up 20 to 25% as well. And then the the base metal side, another quarter. The De Beers side probably made up about 5% of the earnings last time. I think the De Beers side will be interesting just to see how much more cash they're going to have to inject there. But De Beers results not doing so well. So certainly lower earnings for the half, and probably no more dividends today either.
Well, just you mentioned Anglo Coal, and we know that coal prices have been doing quite well under these circumstances. Do you think it's going to contribute quite positively to their results?
I think a lot of the prices we've seen, particularly base metals, it's been a steady increase. Coal over the quarter, over the half. So these numbers go back to the end of June, and probably when you compare them to those heady prices of a year ago, compare this first half to that half, I think the numbers are going to be sharply off, even though we've seen some improvement of late.
So you said that we shouldn't be expecting a dividend from Anglo American, but do you think perhaps this is going to strengthen the case for Xstrata to move in even stronger than what they have already?
I guess it does strengthen their case and makes for gives more fuel to that or fodder to that argument that they should get together, get those assets together, get the management talking. But it looks like I think from the Anglo's point of view, if there's no premium, they're not interested. And from Xstrata's point of view, they really don't want to pay a premium, otherwise it doesn't make any sense to them.
SAB also coming out with the trading update today, and we know that their sales did come under pressure in their previous numbers. What are you expecting today? And of course, we've got to keep in mind that there is very much a currency play here as well. Yeah,
the currency's been a big impact for a lot of results that we've seen coming through. We're expecting the third quarter numbers for SAB Miller. Lager volumes generally have been lower, so I think that's the kind of trend we would look to continue. SAB Miller quite sharply into emerging markets, so that's their big focus. And a lot of the revenue or the lager increases we have seen have come out of China, and that's really low margin business. So we need to see, through to the earnings later, how these sales translate into earnings.
CPI surprised this week to the downside, coming in at 6.9% in June from 8% in May. Were you surprised at this number? And of course, keeping in mind that PPI came out yesterday, showing a contraction of 4.1%.
Yeah, I think very good inflation numbers this certainly wasn't expecting a 6 in front of that inflation number this week. But the good point, or the thing to take away, is that the 6 is the top of the target range. So we are approaching there. It's probably going to be quite slow before we get there, and only really get into the range probably in 2010. But the PPI was positive, the money supply numbers were positive, so it does give those who think we're going to get another rate cut a bit more hope.
Okay, a bit more hope. Of course, we've got to keep in mind that depending on what the CPI number comes in next month, perhaps that would even strengthen the case further. Do you think that CPI at these levels is going to remain quite sticky?
Yeah, I think the path now from 7 to 6 is going to be quite sticky. We could, towards the end of the year, maybe look to get to 5.9, 6, but we're not really going to go into the target range to any great degree anytime soon.
Well, next week we have vehicle sales, we've got PMI and a spate of other data, which could even further strengthen the case for that rate cut. And I know I'm kind of pushing you to give me a forecast in terms of what will happen at the MPC meeting in August.
I still don't think we're going to see a change at the MPC meeting. The numbers we get next week, we might be turning the corner in terms of vehicle sales, retail sales, those softer numbers, but they're still quite largely negative. And they're going to stay negative, but it looks like that it's going to be a smaller negative. So we may be turning the corner there, but I think a rate cut's probably not on the cards.